injuries. But these are some of Matt's plays, and no overs for Matt today. Sandy Alcantara, who stayed with the Miami Marlins, believe it or not, at the trade deadline. You like him under 4.5 Ks tonight. The Marlins are at home. They're on a hot streak. They're facing the Houston Astros. I saw the line actually move Miami minus 112 to minus 134 against those struggling Astros. But with the Astros struggling, you still don't mind the under on Alcantara under Ks. Why?
Yeah, he's gone under this in 7 straight starts. And the time at the end, he had 5 strikeouts against the Phillies. But this is a guy that I just don't think has the great strikeout stuff as he used to. He's more an outs guy now. He's essentially like Charlie Morton. He's just eating innings. I mean, he went 5 in St. Louis, but he went 7 against the Padres, 6 against the Royals, 6 against the Brewers, 6 against the Diamondbacks. Like, this is a guy who's going to give you some length. And we know the Astros are a team that you can certainly go long against because they don't draw out at bats. But the one thing they've done lately is they've made contact. They've gone under in 7 straight overall, 5 straight against right-handed starting pitchers. I want Sandy to win tonight. I have over 8.5 wins for him on the season. He's got 6, so I would love a win for Sandy, but I'd also love like 4 strikeouts tonight so we can hit our under.
Slade Ciccone under 4.5 Ks as well. You're laying some hefty juice there at minus 145. The Guardians are at the Mets, so he's on the road. The Mets, they're a team that they never seem to strike out a lot, but their average is still 4.7 strikeouts a game against righties, which to me is still middle of the pack. So why Mets all of a sudden taking an under against them?
Well, it's interesting because I'm going, I've played them twice this year, and I'm 2-0 in those games. You have not touched the Mets K-prop yet this year.
No, because they're like middle of the pack for me.
Well, that too. I mean, and last year was one of the teams that you weren't your best at, although you played 2 of them in that last year, and we didn't do great as a team with the Mets. But I've watched Slade Ciccone. It's still stuck in my mind. There was like 2 or 3 starts ago, he had no strikeouts for the longest time, and then he finally got a strikeout, and he like fist pumped on the mound, and he was like excited by that. But like, this guy has not struck out as many batters lately. He had only 3 at home against Colorado. Like, you could get 4 against Colorado outside of Coors Field. He had 2 against the Orioles. He had 2 against the Athletics. All these were at home. Now, granted, that means he's pitched a little bit better on the road. He had 9 in Houston. He had 3, though, in Sacramento. Like, this is a guy that I think doesn't have necessarily great strikeout stuff. And I think, I guess I'll trust the Mets tonight to see what they can do. I mean, a lot of the overs that they've had lately, Darvish, Dylan Cease, like, these are legitimate starting pitchers. Like, the bad ones, they've been able to make contact against. And I think Slade Ciccone is a bad pitcher.
I love when you say that. And you're like, I think he's a bad pitcher. Winners and losers from the trade deadline. Anybody that you think has any value in the futures market?
I mean, look, obviously I like what the Phillies did at closer. I do not like Harrison Bader. I wanted Stephen Kwan, but at least the Guardians
he wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
I feel like the asking price just got to be way too steep between Kwan or any of these starting pitchers.
Well, yeah, but I would have liked maybe Ryan O'Hearn and maybe Ramon Laureano, maybe the trade that the Padres made. I think the Padres, I put a little money on the Padres to win the World Series. I mean, when you can shorten a game to 6 innings and you go to the 4 horsemen and now you have Mason Miller, I think that's really good. And I think the Padres to win that division and to win the World Series, their offense scared me a little bit, but they did address it.
You're the third person to say this to me.
What?
Padres.
To win the World Series. You don't seem happy about that. Why are you not happy? Did you bet against them or something?
No. So I was on VSiN all week last week on Money Moves with Stormy Benetoni. And 2 respected people, Mike Palm, who's the VP of Circa, and Will Hill came on the show. And now you two telling me Padres. And I put up a poll last week and said, this is the 4th year it would have been that I would have bet the Padres. And I decided I'm not doing it because all 3 years I lose. I bet them to win the pennant. I bet them to win the World Series. I doubled down last year on them at the All-Star break. Barking dog, she wants to eat. But everyone's talking about the freaking Padres, and I'm just so annoyed at them because every time I bet them, they lose.
Well, as long as those weirdos that did the dance during the Philly series don't show up and do their little dance again, maybe they're going to be successful. But I just think that when you have a bullpen like they do, it really helps because You've seen it. These starting pitchers don't go as long in the playoffs. Like, managers make moves differently in the playoffs. And in a short series, if you can trot out 5 different bullpen guys who are shut down, they have a pretty good home field advantage. Now, I don't love their starting pitchers. I don't think Dylan Cease is great. Nick Pivetta has been good. That, I think, is going to hold them back. But I just feel like you can get 5 out of those guys and then just bring out some tremendous arms from the right and left side. Their lineup is a little bit better right now. They got rid of Maldonado. So, like, our K props are a little bit safer. The unders are now a little safer because Martin Maldonado is not there to strike out. But I don't know. Part of it is me not wanting to bet on the Phillies because I'm not a homer. But, like, I think the Padres did a lot, and I think there's some value in them to win the World Series.
Of course there's value on them. There's always freaking value on them. And the book always knows that the Padres are going to blow it, and I'm going to be pissed because I'm going to fall for there being value on them every freaking year. I don't know. I still haven't done it yet. I'll figure it out. Okay, one more thing popped up about football. If you're done with baseball, anything else in baseball?
So the only other thing I would have done today was I would have played the Quinn Priester over 4.5 today, but the weather in Atlanta looks horrendous. And I don't even know why. I feel like they should have postponed the game by now, but like, even if they start it, we could have a Bristol situation where like the game starts and then Quinn Priester is wasted because the rain delay happened. So I would have loved Quinn Priester today over 4.5, but the weather is just miserable in Atlanta tonight.
You know, I hit an under last week because of rain.
Yeah,
I think it was Stroman's last. I think it was Stroman. I think it was his last outing as a Yankee, and I had under 15.5 outs, and they ended up calling the game. No, they delayed. That was the Yankees-Rays game that they delayed for like 4 hours last week, and they ended up playing. It was I think it was Thursday, that day game. Whoever pitched that day, whatever that Thursday, I think it was that Thursday day game at 1:00. They delayed the game, and I had the under 15.5 outs, and it cashed because obviously after a 4-hour delay, the starting pitcher is not coming back.
It pays to look at the weather. I know people don't want to do that, but like, if you can take advantage of the weather. Plus, you'll know whether the wind's blowing out or in Wrigley. You'll know if the wind is blowing out in Sacramento. You'll know if the wind is blowing out in Tampa Bay, because we have to pay attention to that now because they're outdoors. So like, you got to look at the wind at the weather nowadays.
Bristol was a disaster.
I saw hot dogs without buns. Like, how does that happen?
And there was like limited concessions. I don't know. All my people at MLB Network this morning were hyping it up, and I'm like, social media did not look like it was a good thing.
They said it was the Fire Festival of Major League Baseball.
I wonder if they're going to try it again.
They should. Logistically,
they had 90,000 fans there.
I know, that's why, and it looks good. And I think we should be playing baseball games in different stadiums. Heck, let's go to a different planet. I don't know, but like, we should try putting baseball in all sorts of different places and trying to make it look cool, so that way people will pay attention to it.
Especially people who probably don't watch baseball, but they clearly went to Bristol to see it at a track. Okay, last question, football question, because I just saw this pop up. Travis Hunter is listed as a